Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ MV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building, Sir Daryl.
Sir Daryl.
Sir Daryl.
I know him from Sir Daryl.
Sir,
Yeah.
well, that's his real name.
No,
Sir
just Sir.
Sir.
Just Sir. It's
Just
easier
Sir.
that way.
Yeah.
Just
Sir
Sir.
Daryl.
Please stop.
Yeah.
That's his real name.
Taking me back to grade school, man. Come on, man. Come on,
His
Envy.
first name is Sir Daryl.
That's
Oh, you know what?
kinda
That's crazy. Your name is Sir Envy.
My name is not no Sir.
Isn't that your name on Snapchat or something?
No.
Sir Daryl sounds like a nigga from the hood who trying to sound fancy. I mean, Sir
That is your
Daryl.
Well, let me
name.
tell you this.
Was
My
it?
grandmother
Yes,
gave me
it
that name.
is.
I don't know. I haven't had Snapchat in a long time. I don't
It's
know.
like some family shit, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what?
Sir Daryl is the name that you gonna call me then. Let's start there.
Sir
Yeah,
Daryl?
that name means that you gotta respect me.
Henceforth, my
Goddamn right.
Yeah, you can say it with a joke all you want, but at the end of the day, it's my name.
Oh, hello, Sir Daryl. No
It's
need for
good to meet-
hostility.
it's good to meet you,
Jesus.
brother. How you doing?
I'm good.
Okay.
We've met each other before.
We have.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I guess last time I wasn't that nigga,
Yes,
but
sir.
you know. How y'all doing, man? Y'all having
What's
a good
happening?
day?
Well, I don't know,
I've
you
had a
just
long
started it
New
off
York
awkward
week,
now.
man.
I know. You've been working hard with
Yeah,
this new
definitely.
album, Chasing Summers.
Definitely.
Which is, by the way, an amazing album. You know, I
Thank
told
you.
you, I listen to that while I'm cleaning the house, I'm in the car. It's a nice vibe.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Do you feel like the reception for the second one was better than the first one?
Definitely. And we were much more prepared too. I think the first time around we were just kind of like not testing the waters, but just putting our best foot forward. And this time around we did the same thing, but we were a little more prepared. We had more help. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a step up from November, and I'm happy.
It's
What
good
do you
to hear
mean more
R&B
help?
music.
More help with like just formulating ideas. I had more musician help. You know what I mean? I had more players come in. I got better features on this project. November, I only had one feature. On this one, I got Dot, I got Miss Jill, I got Wayne. We got some good help on this project. So
Got you.
It's good to hear R&B music. It's good to hear real R&B music. I thought it was
Man.
dope. But even the video was dope.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, shoot, it's a lot of good music coming out. Ari Lennox just dropped an amazing project.
Right.
Got cats like Lucky Day working, man. Miguel's still out here working.
Miguel's
Chris Brown killing right now. Indigo is crazy. And yeah,
Daniel
man.
Caesar, you like him?
Yeah, I love Daniel Caesar, man. Shout out to Daniel, man. There's a lot of cats out here doing their thing, and I'm just trying to find my way. You know what I mean? I think that's the hardest part with all this shit is just being yourself and being unique and trying to, like, you know, make your own path. A lot of people kind of do what everybody's doing. I think that's, you know, common in the music industry, and that scares me.
That's one good thing about TDE. With all their artists, they let their artists breathe and live.
Yeah, for
They
sure.
don't try to be like, go into this category, or go into this box. It's kind of like you just breathe, and when people connect and when they catch, they catch.
Yeah.
And you guys don't rush projects out either.
Nah.
And sometimes I'm sure as an artist that could be a little frustrating. Like, I'm ready to drop.
No, for sure. I was telling somebody the other day, I've had 2 albums in between November and this one that both had names and artwork and all that stuff, and it was like, nah.
What do you
we
mean?
had to get it right. Like, we present things all the time.
Oh, you mean to the label?
Yeah.
And they say no.
Yeah.
Who is it, TDE or Interscope?
Top. I'm not signed to Interscope. I'm RCA.
Got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
but the major don't even matter.
I mean, the major matters for sure, but we like to come into the situation prepared. So Top's not gonna go, you know, present anything to anybody until he feels like it's right. You know what I mean? That goes with, you know, everybody on our team. We all got to be
Right.
on the same page.
So
And
what
you
was
guys
left
have a
off of
good
those
track
projects?
record,
What was
so-
left off of those projects that you felt weren't right?
Records that aren't as good as the records that are on the project. You know what I mean? You got to work through it sometimes. And as an artist, you know, everything is your baby. So I got 50 songs that I listen to every day that I go, I want this to drop. But it might not happen. It might not be the song. So, you know, I definitely have a team around me that doesn't give a fuck about my ego and doesn't care how I be feeling. They want to make sure we putting the best foot forward. And we did it this time. And I took a step back and let a lot of people, you know, be more hands-on in the, you know, finishing touches, you know, part of the, you know, creative process.
Well, as an R&B artist on a rap label sometime, don't you got to be like, look, y'all niggas rap. I do singing. Call SZA. Let me ask SZA what she think about this.
Nah, not even, man. I think musicianship, you know, it doesn't, you know, that shouldn't tell you, you know, what you can, you know, tell people what they can do and, you know, not do. Like Dot, as a rapper, should be able to tell me what's whack or not in R&B.
Well,
It's
Dot
music.
different, though.
It's music. But, I mean, anybody in TDE, if I ask Q something about music, he's going to give me an answer that I can trust. You know what I mean?
Got you.
So, you know, I got faith in these guys. So I go to them when I need them, and I'm confident in myself, too. So I do a lot of, like, creation first, and then like what you think it is.
That's good that you don't have an ego, because most people will be like, nah, this is my creation. This is what I want. I'm the one. But the fact that you can open up and be like, well, let me see what he's talking about. Let me see if I can change this up.
And it is an R&B album that hip hop heads could listen to also.
I think so. I think so.
Because there's a lot of topic matter on here that I feel like everybody in general can relate to.
Yeah.
Now you the first song is Hair Down, right? And that is about kind of letting your guard down.
Yes.
Is what I get from it.
No, for sure.
So how difficult is that to do, like for you, as far as in relationships and in work? To trust people enough that you can feel like, okay, I can let my guard down around you.
It gets easier the older I get. When I was younger, I just, I was always like flame first. I was always going too gung-ho on things, you know what I mean? And I was always worried about what other people thought about me. That's what the song's really about. Just being confident in yourself and being confident in decisions you make for yourself, you know what I mean? And not being afraid of what other people are going to think about you, or, you know what I mean? And I wrote that record on the road when we were at the championship tour, and I was like opening up, and it was like Q and Rock and SiR and Dot were coming on after me. And, I just had a lack of confidence. I was having trouble adapting. You know what I mean?
I like how you said that, though.
What?
They was coming on after me.
No.
I like how you said that. You didn't say he was the opening act. You said they were coming on after me.
I was like in the middle. We had Lance, and then we had, it was like Lance, then me, and then I think, who was after me? Soul, and then Q, Rock, then Q, then SiR. So I was just in a place where I was just like, man, this shit ain't cool. I got to find my way to, be confident. And music is my therapy. So when I wrote that, I was literally like writing out how I was feeling at the time. And it translated, man, thank God. Because sometimes, you might write some shit and it doesn't work like that.
But who do you let hear your music before you put it out besides Top? Like, I know you used to engineer for Tyrese. Do you call back Tyrese and be like, big bro, listen to this?
No, I don't call Tyrese.
Why not? Tyrese is
Next question. Nah. Shout out to Tyrese. Much respect and love. No. Much respect and love. You already know what it is.
You said that no kind of hard, bro. Nah, you said that no hard, bro. You was like, no.
Come on, sir.
That's because it was random.
Look. No, and because it's been 10 years. It's been 10 years since I worked for Reese, man.
But Reese is an R&B legend.
No, he is, definitely, but he's not the nigga I go to for anything. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? But nah, I call my older brothers. My older brothers write songs, and my older brothers produce and stuff like that. So I call them if I really want somebody that's gonna give me a unbiased, honest, like, this shit whack. You know what I mean? I'll call him. But I've been doing good as of lately. My brothers, they be like, man, this shit hard. So now I'm trying to like figure that shit out. But my team is good, man. They're as honest as they can be with me, and I ask for that. You know what I mean? Because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to this, and I'm way too hands-on for people to bullshit me. You know what I mean? I'm still mixing these records. I'm still cutting my own vocals. I don't got no assistant. Like last night, I was up sending fucking show track stems off at 3 o'clock in the morning because I ain't got nobody to do it. You know what I mean? So, whenever I do like let people in, it's somebody I trust, and hopefully they're being as honest as possible.
I had no idea you used to be signed to Tyrese. What the hell?
I've
did
never
you know?
signed to him. Nah.
We wrote
Why'd you say
songs.
Tyrese?
Dang. Nah.
Oh, he's engineer.
Right out of
Okay,
school,
okay.
I went to the Los Angeles
We
Film
talked about
School.
this last time. You wasn't here last time?
Yeah. Hi,
Forgets
I'm Sir
everything.
Daryl, man.
Hi, Sir Daryl. How are you, sir?
God.
I don't remember.
Hey,
that
y'all just had a
conversation.
senator in here. Y'all had Forrest Whitaker. I don't expect this nigga to remember everybody that walk in this motherfucker, dog.
Nah, I remember
ain't
you was
mad
here. I
at
don't
you.
remember no conversation about Tyrese,
He said
though.
he was engineer how you started and all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You getting old, bro.
Nah, yeah, I definitely worked for Reese for a while, man. My brothers still fuck with him. They still work together from time to time, and I definitely like hear from him every once in a while. But like that was my thing. That's why I stopped working for him. Is I don't want anybody ever feeling like I'm dependent on him for shit. And that became the issue where I felt like, he felt like I, needed that situation, and I was gonna be there, and he just start treating me like I was a chair in the room, and I'm not that.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? So that type shit, get you feeling some type of way. And if you sit in, a lot of people won't like address those type of issues. They'll sit in that shit and work for him for another year and a half and deal with it until they're like, fuck it, I quit. Nah, I was like,
Like, what more do you want from me?
But that gives you the motivation to move, though.
it definitely did. Nah, for sure, he was the spark, and I haven't looked back since. So you know what I mean.
Dope.
He's definitely like sent his love, and I got nothing but respect for him, and he knows that. But he also knows why I left and when I left, how I left. So we'll
You said
just.
how? Was it an
Nah,
altercation?
I got up. Nah, I just got up in the middle of a session, a big session. There was a whole bunch going on, and I was like, "Yeah, pay me for the day, bro. I have to go." And that was the end of that. That was that. So ever since then we've been cool though.
How do you avoid feeling like that at TDE though? Feeling like you just not another chair.
Man, TDE is a different situation, bro, and I went into TDE knowing it was family. Like the first day I went in there, like I met Rock, who is my cousin, which I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like cousin through marriage. Him and my auntie Linda, his Uncle King, been married 20 years. So my Uncle King is his Uncle King, basically.
That's crazy that y'all never met. So did you know him?
Nah,
You didn't know him at all before
I mean, I knew who he was. I'd never met him. You know what I mean? Like,
How did y'all realize?
And the
that y'all
family,
were
they wasn't
related?
like,
he
you know
told
that's
me,
your
I
cousin?
walked in the studio and he was like, nigga, we cousins. And then we start talking.
hilarious.
We start talking about it. Yeah, and that same night, I got on the song with him. I met Dot, met Dave Free, met, you know, all the management and stuff like that. And we've been rocking ever since. And I think that all they want from me is for me to be the best version of myself. They don't ask nothing of me. Like, you going into the sessions and stuff like that, niggas ain't stressed about nothing. You know what I mean? They're all serious about this music shit and they care about the craft first. So as long as I'm in there, you know, doing my best to respect that, I'm cool. I ain't got to really worry about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you always know you wanted to be a solo artist?
No. I hate all of this stuff. If we're being honest, cause I'm a nigga and I'd much rather just be a nigga and be, you know, chill and just mind my business. And I love music, I love the studio, but you know, as far as like being the face and being a performing artist, this is a lot of like learning and adapting, you know. But I'm also competitive and I hate trash music, and it's a lot of it. So once I started putting music out, I was like, yeah, I have to give it the full go. I'm not gonna be out here like putting music out like, but I don't give a fuck about the artistry. I'm gonna take it seriously, you know what I mean? So I put on a nice shirt every once in a while and smile, and you know what I mean? When I go home, I know who I am. I'm the same nigga I always been. But
So would you rather just write?
yeah.
They say,
So
yeah.
why not? Why not just do that?
I mean, because writing for people is tricky. You got a pile of songs that people don't understand and don't get, and it never translates. So, you know, I still write for people, but I'm very selective about who I write for and when I do it. You know what I mean? I found too much success putting it out myself. Let's put it like that. It's been going too well for me to like neglect that, you know, and just try to like force writing for other people. But you know, I mean, there's a time and place for everything. I feel like it's gonna come back around, and when it does, it's gonna be extra right.
I feel you on that. My best friend Santi Gold, she started off as a writer, and she didn't like how people were singing her songs and interpreting, and then they'll change things and get a co-writing credit, even though they just changed one word.
Oh yeah, change the and or a but to an as or a if or some shit like that, and then they 15% on the song.
What?
I like motherfuckers that's honest about it. Like, yeah, I like your song. I'm gonna take 15%. I'm like, cool.
All right.
Let's rock.
I mean, depending on who it is, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Beyonce won 30%. I'm gonna give her 40. What you mean? Like,
I ain't mad
I
at
ain't
you.
tripping. Yeah, 10% of that
Top dog
is
is
better
raising his
than.
hand about that. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
like, now look. I can guarantee you, if we got a Beyonce placement, me and Top both gonna make sure we make whatever. We'll
Right,
make it happen.
We'll get
You know
it
what I
back
mean?
somehow.
Yeah, for sure. He understands the game, man, and sometimes you got to lose to win, and you know, a lot of people are scared to do that type shit.
I
but-
was surprised Reasonable Doubts was one of your favorite albums.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because at the time where you grew up, right, Jay-Z and the West and the East kind of were going back and forth.
I think
Jay-Z
my
was throwing
favorite
some
bar,
lines in
my
Reasonable
favorite
Doubt.
bar is too much West Coast dick licking and too many niggas on it. And just because you could tell with that energy where things were at the time, and I'm too young to really understand it for that. When I was listening to it when I was a kid, didn't really understand why he said it or what was going on. I just heard it and was like, ooh. And then listened to the rest of the album, and it's just my brother introduced me to that. So my older brother is like 9 years older than me. So you can imagine when he was listening to it, I wasn't supposed to be listening to this shit.
Absolutely.
So it's just that nostalgia that you know what I mean? I can't let go of that one. Even with like Aquemini, the other one that I said on that list, like, man, that album is stuck in my head. I can literally almost spit a verse off of every song. You know what I mean? And it's
a
just
classic
that,
album,
It's a
though.
classic
It is
fucking
classic.
album.
And that was one of those albums that when it came out, people knew immediately this is a classic.
Even if they
Five Mics
weren't
in the
willing to
Sauce.
accept it. Yeah. They had a lot of hate, man. And
Early on.
and people turned around for
Yep.
sure. Yeah, people caught on real quick. But I really feel like I think I'm just attracted to a certain level of musicality because everybody got bars. I talk about this all the time. Like, it's a lot of niggas out here that are talented rappers and talented like artists and musicians, but they'll put like a really amazing message on a mediocre beat
Okay.
or like a whack beat, let's say.
That
Like,
was always Nas's problem early on.
thank you. And we were talking about that, like how the differences between Jay and Nas are the production quality and the musicality, and you know what I mean, the albums. Like, Jay was making hot singles and hot albums over hot beats and wasn't missing a beat. You know what I mean? You were worried at certain points when, you know, Nas put out a project, what it was going to look like on the overall scale. And that goes, I mean, the West Coast, we're guilty of it 9 times out of 10, especially in like that era, 90s into 2000. I think Snoop was Snoop and Dre were the standard, and they were the standard because of their musicality and their production quality. You know what I mean? It's a lot of West Coast artists that rap their ass off, but beats is trash.
Right.
Trash.
Yeah, that's what separates Kendrick. That's what separates all the TDE, but really Kendrick, because Kendrick is such a lyricist. He's so socially conscious, but it's digestible because the production is there.
Production is amazing. Yep.
Telling you, yeah, and I think that's the biggest difference between November and Chasing Summer. Like, I sat down with musicians and had people come in and replace parts, and when we had samples, instead of us just going with the sample, we had people come in and replay the whole sample. You know what I mean? And thoroughly, not to the point where you could tell and it was like, oh shit, which is which type shit. You know, we took our time really building out the production after we had the song. We've been listening to this playlist 14 months, for a year and some change. So we knew what we had, but we also knew that it had to be developed into something else. And we took our time.
Did you really not like your project, November?
No, I did.
Okay,
I can't listen to it now. Man, I mix all these things. So first and foremost, I've heard this music more than anybody. You know what I mean? So I get sick of it quick. And then we toured it like 3 times over. So performing it, got sick of it.
You go down to perform?
Yeah, no.
have to, yeah,
I'm
you
not
still
talking
have
about
to.
Chasing Summer. I'm not there with that. I love this music still. I'm still bumping it. I'm still
But
like
you still got to
rehearsing
do
it.
songs from
You gotta do
November.
your
No, and November for sure. But I'm just saying, like, it got to the point where I was just like, I don't want to listen to it anymore. And I'm super technical too, so I'm listening to things that people aren't hearing. Like, I'm like, there's that pop, there's that vocal I should have switched out. There's that wobble in the bass and like dumbass shit. You know what I mean? So I definitely like appreciate it for what it is, but I don't like wake up in the morning like, let me get my November fix. You know, I hope other people still do. I hope the fans still do.
Why'd you title it Chasing Summer? What's that mean?
Man, Chasing Summer is about like freedom, man, and it's about, people are always looking for some type of freedom. To me, summer was the best example of that. Like, when I was a kid, I'd always like be excited for summer, you know what I mean? And even as an adult, like, summer represents freedom and like vacationing and stuff like that. So, you know what I mean? I think in my career, you know what I mean, I'm just chasing success and trying to find my place inside of my realm of, what's current and stuff like that. And, I spent a lot of time on the road, and most of those records I wrote on the road. So those situations are based off of things I saw on the road and my personal experiences and shit like that. And it's really based around like the growth that I've, been able to like, come across over my, what I've seen over the last 2 years, man. And it's definitely like my life in an album, you know what I mean? So like it's very personal. It's the most personal project I've ever written.
Did any of the songs spark conversations with your wife? Like, oh, so that's how you feel?
All of them. Yeah, all the time. But we're
Is that
straight.
a good thing or bad thing though?
It's a great thing.
Oh, it's a good thing.
The conversation is good. When she ain't saying nothing, that's when you should worry. You know what I mean? So
I hope you ain't writing them songs before you run them by her. I hope y'all having them conversations before you put it in
listen to my
music.
album.
we put it out. What you think? Nah.
Because I was thinking in particular, and I know I told you this, the song Still Blue, right, featuring Jill Scott, is kind of about, like, I would be, if I was, in a relationship, I'd be like, damn, baby, that's how you feel about me now? Or that's how you feel about our relationship? It's a little stale?
Nah, she understands that I'm not, like, I pull from, my personal experiences, but my private life is very private and that's sacred to me. So I never I'm not gonna be like, once upon a time, me and Kelly were, you know what I mean? I don't put my business out there like that. So she understands I'm smart about how I create and what I say. But I also have to not be afraid to really speak. You know what I mean? And that's a whole nother conversation on like relationships and, how people, dictate your work, because of the relationship you're in.
Right.
Like, that shit ain't a part of my relationship. You ain't gonna, and my wife loves me to death. I love her, but she's not gonna tell me how to write songs.
That's not good for radio personalities either. You can't be on the radio scared to say things because
you in a relationship.
Well, you know what?
I mean?
The first couple of years, you are, but then
Well,
like
no. It don't have. It's not the fact that you're scared. It's that this industry will tell you, you can't be married. Or, you can't have a girlfriend. Like, you gotta put on this persona like you some player,
which isn't true. You know what I mean?
bullshit.
No, hell no.
And it's sometimes for women personalities. Like, I remember there was one personality, they were upset that she was in a relationship, but she was scared to flirt with guys, even on like the podcast Lip Service. Sometimes you think like, well, I have a boyfriend, so I don't want to say too much because I don't want him to be upset that I said something crazy.
You
or
feel like that on
told
Lip
a
Service? Think
story
that's the
from
whole point of Lip
past.
Service?
Yeah. But
Man.
there's been people that have been nervous, like, and we've had conversations because the other girls don't have radio backgrounds. So to get people to be honest in a space where they're also thinking what people are gonna say when you talk about your past, like, man, I never told him this before. So if he hears this, is this gonna cause an issue in our relationship?
I think what Sir Darryl said is very important.
What's that?
Because it's not about not being
His name is Sir.
honest.
He said Sir.
No, I like Sir
He said
Darryl.
Charlamagne can call him Sir
Hey, no,
Darryl.
Charlamagne can call me Sir Darryl for sure. No, I don't mind at all.
It's a respect thing.
Charlamagne's confused.
But he
Okay.
said, he said it's not about. He said it's not about not being honest. Like you just don't have to tell people about your personal shit if you don't want to.
Right. No, that's true.
Like
So there was no particular moment that you and your wife said, you know what, let's have this conversation before we put this out.
early on, before I even signed a TDE, before I, this is like 7 Sundays
You're
when I
gonna
was
learn
putting
some
out
things.
projects by myself. It was just, and it's more so the hardest thing has been music videos because the music she understands. Like
I was
she
going to
knows
say
my
that.
past.
I seen a lot of
and-
ladies in the video.
Yeah, but she knows my past with the song stuff, so she knows a lot of times I'm talking from experiences, back in the day. She know what type of nigga I am. I'm a video game ass, like at the house type nigga. I ain't going nowhere, but I think
black men don't cheat. For real. Don't laugh. You're supposed to agree.
No, I do definitely. Nah, I love that statement. But I just got homies that be on bullshit and like I like that people say that type shit. But it's a whole bunch
those
of like
are young black
it's
boys.
two, yeah, it's,
They
you
haven't
know what I mean?
matured
Like,
yet.
yeah, that's it's two sides to that coin, baby. You know what I mean? Like niggas be on bullshit just like women be on bullshit and all kind of.
Absolutely.
Well, see, I said
Yeah.
black men. I ain't say
Yeah,
niggas. I ain't say young boys. I said black men. It's a difference.
Yeah, black men don't cheat.
That's
I love
right.
that.
Absolutely.
I love that, man.
But you were saying that you had that conversation early on and she understood and everything.
No, definitely. And I think that's the most important part is just being honest and upfront with everything that you do. If you're in a relationship and you don't do that, you really, how much do you care about the relationship? You know what I mean? And I think I have a woman and a wife that, ain't afraid to tell me what's on her mind. You know what I mean? And I love that most about her. You know what I mean? She don't, hold her tongue and I don't hold mine. And that like keeps us happy.
And you saying the women in the video, was there a problem with the women in the video?
Early on, yeah. Now she gets it more though, man. Like she quit her job, so she ain't tripping. You know what I
She
mean?
understands.
Yeah, she gets a little more, and I had to make it make sense for sure, because I couldn't just be like, baby, I'm the video rubbing on these girls. Like, it was something that we had to like really first establish ground rules, you know what I mean? And then, talk about those rules when they were being bent and swayed and stuff like that. And then when you got to talk about, what, the label's asking of me, because that's big. Like the label don't give a fuck.
Nope.
It's the artistry, you know what I mean? And that's a lesson I had to learn the hard way. Like, I've had many sleepless nights where I was like, fuck, I got to wake up in the morning and really like do this. You know what I mean? It's stress on me. It's so much stress on me. You know what I mean? Aside from how my wife feels, how do I feel as a married man that got to go to these videos and do these looks and have directors like, okay, kiss her on the mouth and like little stupid shit like that. You know what I
You had
mean?
to kiss somebody in the mouth?
No, I
Oh,
didn't.
I'm about to
I
say,
didn't, but I've had directors
that might have been
definitely.
a line right there in my house.
I've definitely had like directors like push that, like,
Right.
yeah, come on, let's. And I'm like,
Most guys
By the
listening
way-
are like, poor sir, he had to rub on some women and kiss girls.
No,
on
but
the
that,
line."
I used to look at rappers, like rappers that I knew were married, and they be rapping about being in the club, fucking all these different girls. I'm like, that's so whack. Like, we know that ain't your life.
yeah, but
You're
I mean,
drawing
it's
from
a
past
part of the look, man.
experiences.
It's like a rapper that ain't selling records that got a, $350,000 chain on his neck.
That's corny too.
You know what I mean? It is, but fans don't know that. Fans don't. You know what I mean? Sometimes fans can be fickle and they fall for the look of things. You know what I mean? Everybody loves the look, and we talk about that all the time. I don't give a fuck about none of this look shit. Like at the end of the day, I'm gonna look you in your eye. I'm gonna shake your hand like a man, and if we got an issue, it's gonna get handled. You know what I mean? Aside from this music shit, you know what I mean? But I also understand that it's important to present the product properly, you know what I mean? And that's a whole nother conversation. But
Did people ever prejudge you based on how you look and
yeah,
what your
man,
music
you
should
hear
be?
my music and motherfuckers think, a little nigga like Jacquees is about to pop out for sure. You see my big ass. They like, yeah,
Why
security.
Jacquees
Yeah,
gotta get a shot?
Security, come in here. We got an issue.
No.
You know what I mean? I've
Jacquees-
gotten that before. Been on the road and people like, are you security? I'm like,
you security.
I'm gonna tell you
I'm the artist.
I'm gonna tell you what's going to happen. Jacquees gonna take that as a shot. He
No,
gonna
he's not.
he gonna remix Head Down right now. Jacquees Head Down remix
I'd
is
love
coming.
to see him try.
No. start no problems with Jacquees.
Nah, man, much respect to him.
Now you had fell out of love with the music at one point, right?
Definitely, man. I grew up in the church, and my mother used to make us go to church every Sunday and make us sing and all that shit. So when I was 19, 20 or something like that, she was like, "You do whatever you want, you grown ass man." And I literally did that. And for 3 years, I just was doing some whole other shit. And even in high school, I kind of slowed down a lot because I was playing sports, play basketball, and I just wasn't into it, man, because you know, as a kid, you definitely ain't gonna be into what your mom and dad is telling you to do all the time. You know what I mean? And my brothers did music and were so gung ho about it. I was like, fuck this. I don't want to do this, you know. But when I came back to it, I definitely found, you know, what I loved, and you know what I mean. I found enjoyment in it again, and it's different now. I never saw myself in this position at all. You know what I mean? Coming into it, I never had this type of goal. My goal was to be a songwriter. You know what I mean? And I went through writing songs, finding a manager, him yeah, these songs is cool, but why don't you write these type songs? Not understanding what type of artist I was, trying to put me in a pop genre and make me this thing, and having to leave that, you know what I mean, just to engineer for Tyrese and try to figure things out, to hating that, to just finding out that all I really wanted was to create. I didn't want to create for anybody in particular. I didn't want to, you know what I mean? I just wanted to make music. And yeah, once I started putting it out on my own and people started to gravitate towards it, I think that was the biggest turning point in my career, where I was like, okay, I can do this, and, you know, be confident that I don't have to do it for anybody else. I can just do what I love, you know, and, you know, that is paid off for me in the long run. And I'm happy I did that. For sure.
Do you feel that type of inner peace now? Did you get what you wanted out of November? And are you getting what you wanted out of Chases?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, definitely. Short answer. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Not a
sir,
problem.
we appreciate you for joining us.
Man, thank you
Chasing
for having me,
Summers.
man.
You want to introduce your record, man?
What, the Hair Down John?
Yeah, the remix from Jacquees. We just got it. We just sent it to him.
All right, man. What's up, y'all? It's Inglewood Sir representing Top Dog Entertainment. Check out my new record. It's called Hair Down, featuring Kendrick Lamar.
All right, it's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.